Hey, so what's really happening with this GameStop short squeeze? Well, today we're going to be talking about it, and on this channel we talk about business and investment, and we talk about stocks, and we talk about investment. And so this crazy thing that's going on with GameStop and the short squeeze and Reddit, we're going to talk about it, and it's coming your way right now. Okay, so welcome. Look, shorting stocks is not new, and short squeezes is not new. None of this is new. The only thing that's different about it is the extent of it, and also the fact that it's all coming off this community or group, so to speak, on Reddit. It's just really a very strange thing, and it's interesting to see the old dogs on CNBC, the old timers, talk about it and try to figure out what's going on. This is like a social media assault on the short sellers of this stock and other stocks, and we're going to talk about that and try to give you some understanding of what's going on this video. Now, this phenomenon came to my attention watching television and watching the stock analysts on TV talk about it. It came to my attention because GameStop, which is essentially a stock that and a company that really has fallen behind in both the downturn in retail shopping centers and also the fact that most gaming has moved online and to streaming sources. So the GameStop business model has been under attack recently and shorted very heavily by large Wall Street hedge funds. And the most bizarre thing about this is that if you look at it, the short interest, meaning the number of shares that are shorted versus the shares outstanding, in the case of GameStop, the percentage of shares shorted is 138% of the outstanding shares. So in other words, there are more shares short the stock than there are shares outstanding. Now, how can this even happen? I mean, this is truly an example of ridiculous speculation in the stock. Now, that combined with the fact that this Reddit group, right, Wall Street Bets, which has, many people, like 2 million people that are part of it, have done a full frontal assault on these short sellers, going long the stock, which of course causes the short sellers to cover, causing more buying of the stock, and it just feeds on itself and feeds on itself. Let's talk for a second about what is shorting. Okay, shorting is when you're betting that the stock is going to go down, and the way you do that mechanically is you borrow shares from a brokerage account, borrow shares that you don't own, and then sell them. The proceeds of that sale go into a margin account with the understanding that at some point you're going to buy back those shares, close out the position, and if the stock goes down, you profit the difference between what you sold the stock at and what you buy it back at. Okay, so that's the mechanics of how it works. I think the best way to look at this is to look at basically the stocks that are showing the highest level of short interest and sort of explain how this whole thing has developed and how it has turned into like this huge thing that everybody's talking about.
Okay, well, let's take a look at this here. This is a high short interest stock website that I found, 𝐦𝐨𝐵𝐞.com, and what they do here is they rank stocks by the amount of short interest, and here you can see GameStop is at the top of the list, GameStop rather, and here's the 138% short interest that I talked about. But look, there's only 69 million shares outstanding. So in other words, there's stock being shorted out there that's 38% higher than the total amount that's outstanding. That's quite amazing, okay? Virgin Galactic Holdings is another one. I think that's Branson's company. AMC Entertainment, that's the movie theater company. Here's one that I find interesting, Bed Bath & Beyond, 66%. This is what you usually see. You usually see, 66%, 50%, 40%. But these are stocks that are being very heavily shorted. Okay, and some of these assaults or short squeezes, so to speak, are occurring in AMC, Bed Bath & Beyond, and some of these other Fubo TV. Don't even know what that is. But so, this is what you see, and this is what is causing this ridiculous situation to occur. Okay, look at this. So I went right on to Wall Street Bets. This is the Reddit community, they call it. It's the same as a Facebook, Facebook group or something like that. But look at this. Look at this thing. There are like millions of people on this feed, putting out things and giving people instructions to continue buying. Don't give up. And, here's an example of some of the stuff that's on here. Just read a New York Times article saying the SEC is reviewing this sub and what is going on. Please read. To the SEC retards in this sub, go fuck yourself. Why don't you start investigating why companies can shut down trading so that hedge fund buddies don't lose money? But when people lose money, it's completely okay. I'm not even going to repeat that. I mean, this is like, it's absolutely bizarre. I mean, people post stuff about it's all, against the government, against the SEC, against, hedge funds. It's the general theme is the common man, railing against institutions and screwing them and shutting them down. And then this guy, Chamath, I'm not even going to pronounce his last name. He's a billionaire, trader, all-around smart guy. Said a couple things positive about these people, and so they're calling him out as he's great. You can hear the train coming by in the background at my great studio here. Here's a guy. When hedge funders and others loot our markets, it's all good. But when retail investors destroy a hedge fund, then all of a sudden the CNBC analysts start calling for regulation, blame foreign powers, and talk fundamentals. So there's this sort of like, proletariat rising up against the evil institutions that were short the stock. And then there's a situation here where people started going into buying other stocks other than GameStop. So one of these guys who's obviously leading the charge says, all of a sudden, we're flooded with anything but GME. If you want to keep winning, pile into GME right now. It's only GME. Don't fall for it. Okay, so I mean, and then there's a post here where people brag about how much money they've made, and talk about all these conspiracy theories. Huge number of F-bombs on every post. Rampant calling people retards that don't do what they think they should do. Now, one thing that I think is really sad on this is that I saw posts on it where it sounds like a guy's down to his last dollar. He's living paycheck to paycheck. One guy said he was going to take his entire wife's paycheck and put it toward buying call options on GameStop. Okay? This is the kind of stuff you're seeing. I'm not saying that all of these guys are completely unsophisticated. Some of them probably, know what they're doing and have made a lot of money. But look at this one. Look at this one. But there's a tremendous number also of unsophisticated people in their Robinhood accounts trading this stuff. Some making money, some losing money, and it's a frenzy. It's what I would call the gamification of stock trading. Look at this. Look at this here. Robinhood traders with $600 stimulus checks, right? Here as like a, Skeletor, like Terminator figure, and then hedge funds, a girl hiding under a desk from the Terminator. I think that says it all.
So I think you get the flavor for what's going on here. And one thing that I find particularly amusing and interesting is really two things. One is the number of people that are on this Reddit feed that are following this trend and just buying these enormous numbers of options, and in some cases stock, to drive the price up. I mean, it's really incredible. We've never seen anything like this, even though, yes, we've seen many short squeezes. Short squeezes have been around forever, but we've never seen anything quite like this. And the second thing that I find really amusing is to hear, these Wall Street fixtures that you see on television, on CNBC and other places, talk about this and try and understand what's going on as they experience these incredible rises in the stock. Okay, GameStop, for example, has gone up over 500%, and today alone, it went up 134% after already rising a huge amount. I mean, this is just incredible. Now, just to prove my point, I want you to take a look at this clip. It's a clip of Steve Weiss and some others on CNBC. Steve Weiss is a long-time stock investor and trader, smart guy, and it's just interesting to watch him and others process this. So take a look.
Steve Weiss, you've seen a lot of markets. You've seen a lot of crazy things within crazy markets. I'm wondering how you're viewing this, and what do you think investors should be thinking about as they watch it with us?
Well, I'm thinking that this GameStop situation is the craziest I think I've ever seen. Usually you have a short squeeze and it goes up, but this one keeps going. So this really speaks to the changing demographics of investors in the market. And what I mean by that is the people that really true investors never heard of Reddit a few years ago. Sure, it's been around, we know it, but for that to drive a short squeeze in a company that's so fundamentally flawed, as you pointed, 100% last week, 50% today, there's no there. So that's why I have to be careful. But I do not think that this is a manifestation of a bubble market. I think it's a manifestation of bubble stocks, ones you want to stay away from. So you want to stay with fundamentals. But we'll see this play out over and over again with others, because now they've proven successful, and it always is the greater fool theory. The greater fool is going to be the last one to cover. A lot will have made money along the way, but some will lose it. But you'll see this roll through the market in the heavily shorted stocks. It's already begun. But again, that's not an example of a market that's overvalued. I'm more concerned with SPACs, frankly, because it seems like there's 10 new a day. And when you think about the IPO calendar, there haven't been that many IPOs, quality IPOs that come out. So to me, 80%, just to throw out a number, of the SPACs that we've seen will either go belly up or will just be flagging stocks, just bouncing along the bottom.
Yeah.
But I think the market's still got legs to it.
But look,
I'm not worried about the market overall.
Maybe look.
Okay, so it's interesting to see people with this level of experience and knowledge to be talking about this really, really remarkable situation with Reddit and GameStop. Now, we're going to be following along with this situation in the future, and there'll be further updates. But I think that this sort of gamification of stock trading is an outgrowth of the Robinhood era, which has ushered in and made available to literally everybody the ability to stock trade and to manage their own money, etc. Now, while I think that giving more people access to stock trading is a good thing, I think it has contributed in this sort of pandemic period, it has contributed to speculation in the market and continued behavior which is emblematic of a bubble that's been created systematically over the past 6 to 9 months by the Fed and their money printing policies and just flooding the money with market with liquidity, and also the government's stimulus efforts. The original stimulus, which was over $2 trillion, and the next one coming in that Trump left off, which is going to be another trillion, and then of course Biden's talking about another 1.9 trillion. All this money just flushed into the system, gives people more money to be able to, ironically, speculate in the stock market. And many of these people on this Reddit group, some of them are using very large amounts of money, but many of them are waging very small amounts of money and buying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shares of stock and things of this nature. So on one level it's kind of silly, on another level it's scary, and on another level it's good because I would want to encourage more and more people to learn how to manage their own money and take charge of their financial future and not depend on a financial advisor unless you're very wealthy. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Please hit the like button if you got value out of it, and subscribe. We're going to have a lot more content coming to you. I'm going to be following this situation and other situations, and I'd appreciate it if you could subscribe so you could be on board for future presentations, which will be coming your way very soon.